Jadon, somebody else is coming, whether it's Van de Beek or somebody else. You guys had a lot of questions, so we had to get someone who can answer all the questions, who is there, who stays there, who reports for Manchester United. So we decided to get hold of somebody who actually knows stuff. So today we have with us the senior correspondent of Manchester United for Manchester Evening News, Mr. Rich Fay. Hey, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, not too. I mean, lots of pressure there. I'll answer as many questions as I can. Let's see just how many of them I can answer for you. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. It's good to talk to you. We were talking just before we came on air about how big the United fan base is as well outside in East Bengal. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is that the best thing about the fan base is, so the best thing about the fan base, it's okay. It's completely fine.
My mum's trying to organise a haircut for me.
Okay, yeah. I also need a trim.
Chaos. Absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. Do not disturb, it said on the door. 1 minute.
Absolutely, that is fine.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life. Welcome to my life.
No, I can see your Instagram pictures. I can see your Instagram pictures, and I think your life's pretty happening.
Yeah, it's very privileged. I've come home for a couple of days. I'm originally from North Wales. So I've come home and it's very sunny. Believe it or not, the UK very hot today. Very sunny. About 30 maybe 30 degrees bang on. Fahrenheit, I do not know the Fahrenheit.
No, it's Celsius over here. So 30 degrees is like, it's we don't even consider it summer for 30 degrees.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I've got my shorts on, shorty t-shirt, shorts on, outside sunbathing. It's crazy. You should see people walk around topless. It's the hottest day of the year. The beaches are full, everyone's having ice creams. This is as good as the UK gets. 30 degrees.
That is absolutely crazy. That is absolutely crazy, my man. And to the viewers, just click on the subscribe button if you want to follow us, if you want to catch us for more of the content, if you want to stay updated. And now let's get on with it. Okay. No, I would not make it look like a series of questionnaires that has nothing to do with you.
Don't you worry.
No, I'm gonna make it a fun time for you too. I'll try my best. Is Jadon Sancho coming?
As easy as that. I think he still will. I still think in my gut, this is just my personal opinion now, I think Jadon Sancho will sign for United. I think it will take a while. United were never gonna get sort of sucked into these Borussia Dortmund transfer games they're trying to play. They put the deadline of the 10th of August, which was a day ago now. United haven't really progressed with that. Sancho wants to join United. United have wanted to sign Sancho for 3 years now. So there's definitely that sort of mutual agreement between the two clubs in the fact that Sancho wants to join United, United wants to sign Sancho, but the big thing is agreeing a fee with Dortmund. We've seen in the past how their transfer tactics work. They want to try and pressure United into the sale, really. And the thing is, it's like a game of chess. It's like maybe a long tennis rally. At the moment, they're just returning serve to each other. A couple of break points in there. Yesterday, Michael Zorc comes out with the bombshell that Jadon Sancho actually has another year on his contract, which, if true, makes his value even higher. They say he's contracted until 2023. The initial belief was he's contracted until 2022. Dortmund want £108 million for him, just about. For United, that would be a club record fee. We saw with Maguire, we saw with Bruno Fernandes. United don't they don't try to pay the fee all in one go. So Bruno Fernandes, £47 million, another £20 million in add-ons. They've already had to pay, I think, almost 10 million of that because they qualified for the Champions League and Bruno Fernandes made a certain amount of appearances. So that deal's now worth more like £55 million than the 47 they paid. For someone like Sancho, it would mean United would have to pay at least 60-70 million pounds up front. They'd then have to put additional sort of agreements in place, either appearance-wise, if he wins the Ballon d'Or, if United go off for the Champions League, if United win the league title, there'd be different payouts to Dortmund. So it just depends how they structure it, really. It depends how much and how low Dortmund are willing to go. At the moment, the ball's in their court. It's United's turn now to sort of return the transfer games, because Dortmund have, like we said, taken the lead of that Michael Zorc comment yesterday. That was Monday the 10th of August. So now it's waiting for United to do something. They're in no rush, really. They've been adamant throughout the whole transfer window that the window's open until October the 5th. So there is still 2 months left, really, for United to sign Sancho. Don't expect an announcement in the next week or so. United will be fully focused on the Europa League now as well, so I wouldn't get too excited in the next week or so. But I would still say I'm about 70% sure or 70% confident that United will sign Jadon Sancho this summer. It's just a matter of sort of giving in at some point, and if there's no progression with the negotiations, United will have to weigh up: do we just all pay it in one go and get the man we want, the man, their top target? They've not hidden that aspect. They still feel confident they can complete a deal. I still feel confident. If you're a United fan watching this, I'd still be pretty confident that Sancho will join.
So your confidence matters a lot, and I think that is all we need to know. And so there's this thing. There has been this talk about a technical director being appointed. I actually want to know, how does this technical director actually work? Because for Manchester City, this has worked, I think. So can you please make us understand, walk us through this thing?
Yeah, well, they got Tiki in from Barcelona. I mean, before Pep Guardiola was appointed, City were making appointments in place to get Pep Guardiola ready. They wanted to sort of give him that sales pitch, and they basically made Man City initially into like a copy of Barcelona, somewhere he'd already worked, a format he worked in. And then he came in, obviously, with great success. The issues really, I mean, Jose Mourinho didn't want a sporting director when he was in charge at United. Solskjaer's come in. United are still umming and ahhing. It might be a situation in which they don't actually appoint someone officially to the role, but they just get people in to advise on transfers. Matt Judge has come in. He's helping Ed Woodward at the moment sort of identify targets. And the thing about a technical director is, I know lots of fans love it and they want to know who's this, who's that, because when you play Football Manager and stuff, it works wonders. But the reality is, United have always said that they want to have a 70% success rate in the transfer window. So if they sign 10 players, 7 of them have to be successful. 3 of them can be maybe risky, or if they don't pay off, it's not the end of the world. If you look at the business since Solskjaer's come in, Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, Odion Igalo, all 5 of them have done the job they were brought in to sign. Yes, Daniel James has gone off the boil. He's not quite the player he was, but he's £15 million. It's nothing really to United, so he's done his job. Wan-Bissaka, best right back defensively in the Premier League, if not the world at the moment, done his job. Harry Maguire, the verdict's still out on him, but he's better than any other defender they had, who's done his job. Bruno Fernandes, more than done his job. Odion Igalo, someone who's happy to be on the bench, he's done his job. So you've got 5 transfers under Solskjaer, all of them have paid off. So then the argument goes, do they actually need a technical director? Because in the last 2 transfer windows as well, United have got their number 1 target. The number 1 target last summer was Harry Maguire, they signed him. January it was Bruno Fernandes, they signed him. This summer, if they were to get Sancho, it would be 3 out of 3 as well, the top target. And you'd expect that to be another transfer which pays off regardless of whether it's a flawless one or not. So United transfer-wise are actually doing much better than I think they get credit for. And the issue is, United fans see City have signed Ake and Torres, Chelsea have signed Werner, Ziyech, and they're about to get Kai Havertz as well. So the pressure comes from that. United fans are hungry for transfers. There's no club in the world like United. Every time there's a player in any gossip column, people just throw the name United in there. Because if the Manchester United are in a story, people click on it. If an agent wants his player to get a new contract, United want to sign him. If they don't want to sign him, then the player gets a new contract. Because United are used as a marketing tool and maybe a negotiating tool as well in that aspect. But in terms of an actual director of football, the search is ongoing. It's not a definitive thing that needs to happen by a certain date. United haven't ruled it out, but they haven't necessarily said they're going to do it either. So I think it's when there's maybe transfer uncertainty or fans aren't that happy, it's easy to say where's the director of football, because it was only January. I remember I was at the Norwich game at Old Trafford, and there was the anti-Ed Woodward chants. There was fans all in the stadium still backed Ole, but fans online, some of them were saying Ole out, he's not done it good enough. 6 months down the line, United back in the Champions League, Europa League semi-finalists. Bruno Fernandes looks like one of the best signings in the Premier League era, and fans aren't that bothered. It's very sort of the problem is United were kind of like their fan base under Van Gaal and Mourinho, in that they were very short-term thinking. They sacked managers when they didn't achieve goals, and they bought players who didn't have longevity at the club. So Lukaku, great player, but didn't fit Solskjaer's vision. Sanchez didn't fit anyone's vision, really. People like Rojo, given a new contract, hardly played afterwards. United were just thinking too short-term. They were too reactionary, and they were acting maybe even as if they were a fan on social media sometimes, because they were just doing things impulsive. If someone's playing well now, let's give them a new 4-year contract. It doesn't always work like that. Just because a player's playing well now doesn't mean you just have to reward them straight away. And I think since Solskjaer's come in, he was ordered to put smiles back on faces. He's done that. Cultural reset at United's continued as well. So I think that I don't think the director of football is as big an issue as some people are saying, but United definitely need to get more people involved when it comes to locating targets, and particularly maybe get some help when it comes to actually getting deals done quickly. Because although we praise United for getting Maguire, and praise them for getting Wan-Bissaka, praise them for getting Tonge, praise them for getting Bruno Fernandes, all those deals took much longer than they should have done. They 2-3 weeks too long. This Sancho one could have been wrapped up by now if United had maybe more football-minded people higher up at the club. So I don't think it's necessarily direct football United need, but they need another appointment high up, who's someone from a footballing background and whose sole purpose is just to not necessarily go find players, but to lure them to United and get the deals done as quickly as they can.
Yes, exactly. I agree with what you said right here, and I do not actually think that a director of football is just what you said, that we have been getting the players we wanted to get. We have been getting our targets. Although the market signings, it has taken a lot of time. Although most of the times the transfers have been delayed and the fans have been asking, but we need to keep in mind that the business also needs to be understood, and fans, no matter how huge it is, I know United is one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest club in the world. We do have a huge fan base, and the fan base is reactionary at times. We have to understand the fact that the business needs to be done by the club, and the club is doing it. Since they are doing it, I think you have said it rightly, that the director of football is probably not the immediate appointment that we need, but maybe somebody higher up to help.
If United got the players they wanted to this summer, then I know it sounds stupid, but there's no reason they couldn't be Premier League title challengers at least next season. And if that happens, then people aren't asking for direct football again, because it's only when results are bad and the fans maybe lose faith in what's happening on the pitch that they want change off it at times. And United have, they went on this ridiculous unbeaten run. They went on a ridiculous unbeaten run when Solskjaer was appointed. They went on another one since January. I don't think it can be sort of kept up. I don't think it can be maintained. I still think we're getting quite a false representation of just where United are at, because they go on these kind of freakish runs at times, and it's hard to tell just how good they are. But
exactly,
improvement's definitely there, and whether you like it or not, they're the third best team in England at the moment, and no one can argue that. No one can argue that, because they finished third. So that's just a fact.
And if this Jadon Sancho deal, okay, now I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. Although Fabrizio Romano has said that the deal is gonna get confirmed, you said that it's 75% on the cards. What if Jadon Sancho does not sign for Manchester United? Do you see any other player who can fill the books right now for United?
Well, I guess the problem in terms of if we're thinking worst case scenario, Sancho doesn't come because the two clubs can't agree with it. I mean, it's crucial to remember United do want Sancho. They won't pay what they feel is an unrealistic fee for him. They will only stick to their own sort of integrity in terms of that. At least that's what they're saying at the moment. Sancho wants to join United. If they don't sign him and it can't be agreed this summer, then you've got a big question, because you either say, right, do we sign someone now who's a short-term fix and go for Sancho in January or next summer? Or do we just think that's Sancho done for, let's buy a proper another first-team player and just forget about Sancho? That's the dilemma. So if you're going for if you're ruling Sancho out completely and you're saying we're not getting Jadon Sancho this summer, then I think you've got to go for someone who's got the experience and can go straight into that first team. I think someone like Kai Havertz, I don't think that's too late to do a deal yet. I mean, I know he's basically agreed terms with Chelsea, but the two clubs haven't agreed a fee. Bayer Leverkusen want about 90 to 100 million pounds for Kai Havertz, so that's a big issue for any club involved. But if United weren't going for Sancho, that fee doesn't become such an issue anymore, because you can't sign Sancho and Havertz. You could sign either of them. So if Sancho's not happening, you could go for Havertz, who would also fill the attacking midfield problems United have. Havertz is very key on a move to the Premier League as well. Kingsley Coman, United would be interested in a loan move for him. They probably don't want to buy him. Bayern don't want to sell him at the moment. So Coman's a short-term fix. They've already looked at Ravi Matondo, who's at Schalke. They've looked at David Brooks. They've looked at Thiago Almalda. I mean, when United went to sign Aaron Wan-Bissaka, it was a list of over 900 players before they found Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So I could throw loads of names at you, and United have probably looked at them, because they look at so many players for each position. So if you're a right winger playing in a top league, United have probably looked at you. I quite like someone like Ismaili Sarr at Watford, just been relegated. David Brooks as well, as I said, been relegated as well. They'd be cheap short-term fixes. You'd get 6 months to a year out of them. And I think, if United went into next season and their best attacking three was still Rashford, Martial and Greenwood, that's not necessarily a problem, as long as your bench isn't Pereira, Mata and Lingard anymore. I'm not saying they all need to leave. I'm not saying they're not good enough. I just think if United want to be title challengers, they need to up the overall quality, not just in the starting 11, but off the bench as well. I think Lingard and Pereira and Mata as well, over the last 2 games, they've all been really good. They've all played really well, because the pressure's off them now. The pressure's now on Fernandes. It's on Pogba to make the difference. Fernandes has only been here half the season. Pogba's been out for most of the season. When they weren't playing, the pressure was on people like Lingard and Pereira to perform, and they were never starters for United. They were squad players at best, and now that they're squad players again, it's less of an issue. But I think in terms of players like that, I think United just have to go for a short-term fix. I think if Sancho can't be agreed this summer, I don't think United will walk away completely. I think they would go for maybe a short-term fix, someone who can play in more than one position, a versatile option, because it's going to be 2 games a week for the majority of next season.
Now, speaking about the players United can have as a short-term option, United have had a really, really rich academy, thingy. Now, Rashford, I know that Rashford and Greenwood are Manchester United academy graduates, but that's all that we have to show for. Do you think any other academy graduate that can actually fill the role that United are looking for? Anybody with that potential? Because there are a couple of names which are making its rounds on the social media, but that is the reason I'm asking you.
Yeah, I spoke to United under 23s manager Neil Wood last Friday. Got the interview going out with him tomorrow morning, actually, on this very matter. So in terms of, United have the best academy and most illustrious academy in world football. They like to push that, they like to say it, and it speaks volumes that even a team like Barcelona's academy at the moment is in jeopardy and ruin, and Marc Jurado is going to be joining United from Barcelona this summer. In terms of, as a youth level, of course, and if you look at youngsters now, so you've got Greenwood, Rashford, Brandon Williams, that's what you pride yourself on. You're United. I spoke to the person who talked about how great the academy is and the players who are in the first team squad. Jesse Lingard as well, who might not always seem like an academy player, but of course is, and he's done fantastically well considering the loan spells he had earlier in his career. I know he's playing for Preston, he was struggling to get games in the Championship. He came back and he proved himself at United. Even if he's gone for the Boyle recently, he did do that. He's done everyone's childhood dream. In terms of players who are ready to step up to the first team, I think they're all in a defensive position, really. I think Teden Mengi and Ethan Laird are maybe the next two for United. Laird, of course, at right back, looks to be ahead of Fosu Mensah, looks to be ahead of Diogo Dalot at the moment. He looks to be maybe the backup option for Saka next season. Teden Mengi, United need a centre-back at some point, because Lindelof Maguire's not quite clicked 100% yet. Twanzebe's been out all season really with injury, which is a shame, because it was a huge year for him, and United have a decision now. Do they loan him out again next season to get confidence and playing time back, or do they stick with him as a bit part player? So that's a difficult one to sort of weigh up. Jones is Phil Jones. Marcus Rojo is not in United plans anymore. Eric Bailly, anyone who watched him last night will have to have concerns, because he did some things well, but he was also very erratic. very clumsy in the box, almost gave away a penalty, but the striker was just too honest. So Ted Mengi's got a real chance at centre-back. He's being touted as a future first-teamer. He's only young, though. He's only 18, I think. Now, not 17, actually, still. So you can't put too much pressure on him. Ethan Laird's played a couple of times in the Europa League. He's really impressed United officials. But it was only a year ago, no one knew who Brandon Williams was. He didn't go on a pre-season tour. He'd only just been promoted to the under-23s. Then Patrice Evra comes into the United Academy for basically work experience. Sees Williams, sees how good he's doing, tells Solskjaer how good Williams is. Williams gets his chance against Rochdale in the Carabao Cup last September. Doesn't look back. He signed 2 new contracts. United aren't looking for a new left-back anymore because Williams is that good. Williams brought the best out of Shaw. In terms of players who are on the fringes, Garner, Levitt and Chong are all set to leave on loan this summer. Expect all of them to go. Chong's in talks with Werder Bremen, and there's a couple of Championship clubs interested in Garner. It sounds like Bournemouth, Swansea, and even maybe Brighton are all interested in him. I don't think Brighton is going to happen because Premier League. I don't think that's on the cards at all. But Bournemouth and Swansea definitely interested in Garner. Levitt's got interest from the Championship as well. But then below that, United are expected to have a very youthful under-23s team next season. That might sound weird because it's an under-23s team. Of course they're going to be young, but they're talking 18, 19-year-olds rather than 21, 22-year-olds next season. And I just don't... I can't really see another youngster having the same impact as Greenwood or Williams next season. I just don't think it's at that stage yet, and I don't think there's anyone maybe in line to do it. I think, like I said, Laird and Mengi are the next two. But in terms of attacking talent and someone who could start from Manchester United on the right wing, there just isn't anyone at the moment.
And how is Hannibal Mejbri? I think I've been hearing his name for pretty often now. How good is actually? Do you have any clue about that?
Yeah, well, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m, I've got a piece going out on Hannibal Mejbri and my interview with Neil Wood last week, and he will tell you exactly what he thinks of Hannibal Mejbri. And the thing is, there's too much pressure on him already, I feel. He's got a cool name, he looks cool, he has a price tag, which most young players don't have. Most young players don't have a price tag on them. Mejbri's come from Monaco, exciting, glamorous club. He's cost a few £1 million. The deal will come to €10 million in total, potentially, for a teenager, for a boy, a child. You know what I mean? He is a top talent. He's only just moved up to the under-23s anyway. You know, I think there's a lot of pressure on Mejbri in that sense. And like I said, the pressure wasn't on Williams last year, and that's why he did so well, because people weren't expecting him to do as well as he has done. So for Mejbri, it's going to be very difficult because he's got so much pressure, and people know he's a celebrity already, and he's 17 years old. So he's going to be a difficult one to manage. He's a central midfielder, so he's quite slight. So I can't imagine him getting into the first team because it's so physical, so demanding. It would be a huge ask. And Neil Wood, one thing he did say to me, which you'll find out tomorrow morning, is he's quite far off even being able to go to train with the first team yet. Neil Wood doesn't want to send him to train with the first team because it's not fair on him yet, because he's not at that stage. And although when a player's 17, you say, whack him in the first team, he'll score goals, he'll do this, he'll do that. But if you put someone in an environment they're not ready for, it is make or break. Yes, he might do well, and it might be another Rashford, he might burst onto the scene. There's a higher percentage and a higher chance he won't do it. And then the questions are asked. And then you've got a 17-year-old who cost a few £1 million, got no confidence, no experience really, and he's shattered confidence-wise. And you know, if you go into the first team at 17 and don't score goals and don't do what Greenwood done, fans will start saying, "Oh, he's not that good then." And then it's like, well, he is good. You've put him too soon. So I think fans need to maybe take a step back, wait a bit. I think it'll be maybe next summer when we can talk about Mejbri as a possible person to come into the first team. But you never know. If United had a last Champions League group game like they did against Astana when they were already through, and United was, say, going off to Russia or somewhere, and they had a horrible away day, they've got a packed fixture schedule anyway, and they're already through, there's nothing going on in the game, then maybe Solskjaer will do what he did in the Europa League, send all the kids instead. But it's a long way off. I wouldn't bank on Hannibal Mejbri doing it, but I wouldn't totally rule out a debut, at least in maybe a cameo towards the end of the season. But, you know, youngsters getting their game time next season will just depend on situations. Like I said, like when United played Crystal Palace back in 2017 on the last day, and Mourinho gives Angel Gomez his debut, Josh Harrop his debut, Demi Mitchell played, Joel Pereira in goal. It was because there was nothing on the game. You can afford to do it. But to call upon Hannibal Mejbri when he's only played a couple of games for the under-23s would be ridiculous. So I'm sorry, but I think you have to wait another year for him.
Exactly. And that is amazing. That is the way you actually, summed the entire situation up. It's really assuring that we know what we're doing, even on the transfer window and even about the youngsters. And yes, actually, a 17-year-old would need some time to settle down because English Premier League is not a very easy league to play in.
I think it depends on your position as well, because I think for someone like Greenwood, playing out wide against slight fullbacks, maybe playing in the middle occasionally, he's not played much of number 9 actually. But Hannibal's would be in the very heart of things. It's why we've not seen much of James Garner this season as well, because technically he is brilliant, and I have no doubts that he could do a job for United. But he still needs to be playing men's football. That's why this loan next season is going to be so crucial for him, because he needs to get the experience. He needs to know how to deal with it. And you talk about some of the Barcelona greats, you talk about Xavi, you talk about Iniesta. They weren't that physical, but it's because they learned how to adapt their game. I don't think Garner has reached that stage yet where he can adapt his game to senior level. That's why he's gone to go on loan, have a few maybe broken nose, cut his lip open, get to speed and things in the Championship, because that's what you need. You need to be playing against 30-year-old men who were there, fighting for promotion. You need to go into that environment to be ready for United. And I think, I think most United fans, I play Football Manager, I play FIFA, I want the young players in my team because they're exciting, they've got 5-star skills, you see the potentials, but in reality, United are taking great care of their youngsters. It's something that, even since Solskjaer came in, there was the total overhaul of the youth system at United, and there's still a long way to go really in some of the players' developments, but it's United, it's youngsters, so everyone wants to see them play. I understand that 100%, and I just think that sometimes fans just need to take a step back, have a deep breath and think, if you were 17 years old, would you be ready to go play with Paul Pogba? I wouldn't be.
Okay, then who is the guy you want to partner Paul Pogba? Because Matic is not growing any younger. And do you think there is anybody we might sign this season to partner Paul Pogba?
I don't think United will sign someone. I think they need to. I don't think they will, because their transfer strategy is one at a time. So until Sancho's done or they've got an answer on Sancho, they won't go for anyone else. They won't do 2 at a time. I think Abdoulaye Doucouré, Wilfred Ndidi. I think United need to get someone who's just a defensive midfielder, someone who's got break-up play. Doesn't even have to be a good passer of the ball, because I think all United need, you need someone in there who's a brute, who's athletic, someone who can cover ground quite well, someone who's just going to win the ball back for you, lay it off to Pogba and Fernandes. And if you've got a good anchor like Fernandinho was at Man City, then United can play a new formation with just one-man pivot, so United get their own Fernandinho, someone like Ndidi. And then as your De Bruyne and your Silva, you've got Fernandes and Pogba just getting involved when necessary. They can both get back. They're both tenacious. They're both physical. Saw last night Paul Pogba was excellent with his sort of retention skills. So I think my dream signing for United other than Sancho would be someone like Ndidi, because I think he's such a good tackler. He wins the ball back so well. He'd be very complementary to what they've already got. I think he'd bring the best out of Maguire and Lindelof because they've got someone so assured in front of them. I know he gives the ball away quite a bit, Ndidi, and I know he's giving away quite a lot of key chances to opposition this season. But I think if he's in that United team, he only has to sort of get rid of the ball again. People aren't expecting him maybe to be as creative as they might say, but I do think United need a new defensive midfielder. We've seen since Matic has come back to the team just how good he's been, just how balanced the team's been. When Fred and McTominay are in his position, it just isn't the same. So I think United need to get another defensive midfielder this summer, and if I could get anyone for myself, it would be Ndidi.
Okay, now we're kind of running out of time.
Keep going.
Now I will ask. No, actually, the meeting's gonna get over. It's a Zoom, the thing with Zoom.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, now if I ask you to sum up the entire season, this season, because we started off pretty high. We went on a crazy unbeaten run. We started off with a 4-0 win, and then I think we were winning. We're scoring more than 3 goals for consecutive amount of games, and then suddenly there was this weird slump in form, and then since Christmas, since the signing of Bruno Fernandes, there has been an inspiring run of form, and then again in the last match yesterday, I think against Copenhagen we looked a bit, shabby. I don't know if it's that harsh. So how would you sum up this entire season? How would you sum it up?
It's been quite a difficult one because everyone wants to know, and there's a fascination these days with ratings. What would you give him out of 10? What would you give him out of 10? I think United is either a 6 or a 7 out of 10, considering how much money they spent last season. They had their worst Premier League start in 34 years. They did do well, and like you said, a year ago today when we're recording this, they beat Chelsea 4-0 at Old Trafford with that dream debut for Dan James, Rashford and Martial scoring, and it seemed really good off the back of a productive pre-season as well. So I think that Solskjaer, for me, I think a 7's just about fair. I think a 6 out of 10 is also can be argued, because United, when they've been at their worst this season, have been dreadful. I think about West Ham away. I think about some of the Europa League group games, which are always going to be a bit crap anyway. And you look at some of the other league games, losing at home to Crystal Palace. They lost to Bournemouth, they lost to Newcastle, they lost to Watford. They lost to every team that was relegated this season. That is inexcusable for a Manchester United side. Oh, they didn't lose to Norwich, sorry, but they didn't lose to Norwich, but they lost to Newcastle, Bournemouth, and Watford. So they've had real low moments, and they've been tactically inept at times, and they've looked really bad. They look like they've had no idea at times in some games. But Solskjaer has changed things around. For the big games now, he goes for a 3-5-2 variant, 3 centre-backs in, Wan-Bissaka and Williams as the sort of full-backs, maybe even Luke Shaw as a centre-back. And even that in itself shows that Solskjaer does know what he's doing. Because like Luke Shaw as a centre-back, they tried against Barcelona last year, it failed completely. But he come back in, and he's been fantastic this season. In terms of transfers, as we all touched upon earlier in this video, and people can go back and watch that if they want to as well. Flawless transfers, whether you like it or not. He's got rid of players they don't want. Got rid of Rojo on loan. He's now got rid of Sanchez. Got rid of Lukaku. Smalling got a loan move as well. Cleared out the sort of deadwood, the players who didn't fit his vision. I've got no problems with Lukaku. I think he's a very, very good player. He just didn't fit in with what Solskjaer wanted, and that was clear from about a year, last March really, that was going to be the case. But credit to him, United had so many sort of hanger-oners in the club, in the squad. Solskjaer's managed to get rid of them. You sense that every player who's playing now wants to play. Paul Pogba's happy. De Gea signed a new contract. I know fans might be saying, I don't care anymore. De Gea, still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Getting to sign that new contract earlier in the season was huge. That was massive. People need to go back and think about how they felt at the time when De Gea signed that contract, because everyone wanted to do it. He's done it. There's talks, and there's positive talks regarding Paul Pogba's future. You can't rule out a new contract for him. United are in the Europa League semi-finals. They've qualified for the Champions League, and I know fans say, yeah, we're back in the Champions League, but Van Gaal did that, Mourinho did that. That should be minimum expectation. This was always going to be a bit of a freebie this season. As long as Solskjaer didn't finish below 7th, as long as United were productive in the cup competitions, got to a semi-final, which they should have done better in, he was always going to sort of get into next season and have that free hit at next season as well. But next season, it can't be any more Mr. Nice Guy. The fans' expectations are going to go up even higher. If they get Sancho, they go up even higher again. United have to be challenging, or at least challenging closer for the Premier League title next year. They've got to be maximum maybe 10, 15 points away from the eventual winners at most. Even that's way too high for a United side. They've got to win one of the cups really, and they've got to be competitive in the Champions League. But all in all, I think Solskjaer is a 7 out of 10 this season. I got a lot of hate on Twitter last week when I said that Lampard maybe shouldn't have been nominated for Premier League Manager of the Year, but ahead of Solskjaer, I think they've both done equally as good a job. I don't think either of them deserve to be nominated for Manager of the Year, because there's different reasons for each. I don't think United have done maybe as well as some are saying, but to give Greenwood a chance, not many managers would do that. paid him off. Brandon Williams as well. He took risks in the transfer market. He paid over the odds for Maguire. He paid perfectly really for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, come good after a tricky start as well. Tactically, he's improved. There's still question marks, and last night I think was just a case of it being tired, because like we said, it was a year ago today the Premier League season started, so I think that could be excused, but the real work starts next year.
Exactly, and that is all from me. And it was amazing, because the things you actually spoke about, they were really, you need to know that club deep down, like inside out, transfer policy, that actually understand the mentality of the club, the mentality of the players, the actual grassroots project that are going on. And yes, I think the viewers got to know about a lot of the things, and I think that will suffice for a lot of the questions that we had in the beginning of it. We got answers to a lot of the questions, and I know you have to watch the match. And
Wolves
so
have built it later, so we'll see who United are playing on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and it was great having you, Rich, and I think I'll have you soon. I'll have you back soon. So yeah, stay on that Instagram chat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I wish the Kolkata Reds all the best going forward. Hopefully we'll see United in India next summer instead rather than this summer. But thank you very much. Any questions, and we'll come back again sometime soon as well. So thank you, all the best.
Thank you so much. Good
Very
night.
well, man. Take care.
You too.